What is up, fans? Episode 3 of The Rundown starts right now. We have a special guest today. Kyle, who's our special guest?
Let me get a drum roll, please. We got Ryan Kerrigan, the showstopper, outside linebacker. Yeah. So initially we went into this episode wanting to talk about the wide receivers, yep, tight ends, but then we ended up talking to Ryan and he agreed to come on. So now, little change of plans.
We'll change it. If any player wants to come on, we'll change the plans in a
exactly.
heartbeat.
So for all you players out there that listen, because I know there's a lot, come on whenever you want. We always welcome guests. So
instead of doing wide receivers like you said, we're going to do inside, outside, linebacker position by position. Well, inside, outside linebacker breakdown. Kerrigan's on his way, so we will get right into it. Probably won't be too lengthy, but we're going to start with Ryan Kerrigan since he's on the show coming up. I think Ryan Kerrigan can have a big year this year. 7 sacks, the number 7. That number is floating around in the air at Redskins Park. Number 7. If he gets 7 sacks this year, when he gets 7 sacks this year, he will become the all-time Redskins sack leader. I feel like that's a huge accomplishment. Every player, if you play for a team, you want to have, those. You want to be in the record book for that team. So, he is Mr. Redskins. When you think of the Washington Redskins, yep, the first player that you see is Ryan Kerrigan. He's a professional. He does everything the right way. So it's only right, and I can't wait for him to break that sack record.
Yeah, and based on his track record for sacks per season, I don't know what it exactly is, but he's had at least 10 in the last
9 or 10
couple of years. So based on that, he's going to get it.
Right.
That's if and when, that's going to be amazing to see, and it's really nice to have a perennial Pro Bowler like Ryan Kerrigan, right, who is a little bit of an older guy that can lead both the outside linebackers, which is a younger group, and then the young defensive linemen too. Right. So it's nice to have him as the guy that really the outside linebackers like Sweat, Ryan Anderson, Casanova, McKenzie can look up to and try to learn from going into their careers.
Speaking of his veteran leadership, for Ryan Kerrigan, for him to be able to coach those guys in the room, be that veteran, like you said, that veteran leader, that coach on the field. I feel like that's key, and it's especially for a guy like Ryan Anderson, yep, who's coming into his 3rd season. It's going to be pivotal and vital for him to just to learn from Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Anderson can pretty much do everything you need him to do. Of course, he's played big time football since he's been in college. Played at Alabama, played in a couple national championships. So I guess his thing is just staying healthy. We talked to him earlier this year, and he's basically saying staying healthy is his biggest thing because he went vegan at one point in his career. Yeah, he went vegan at one point. If not vegan, I know he said he changed all of his eating habits. So he is taking really good care of his body, and just to be an athlete in this league, a player in this league, you have to take care of your body. Your body is your business. So, if you're not taking care of your body, it's going to affect how you play. And Ryan Kerrigan, not Ryan Kerrigan, but Ryan Anderson, I'm sure this offseason, this training camp is going to be a big one for him. I feel like he stood out this offseason. Yeah. A lot of people weren't talking about him in OTAs and, mini camp, but I feel like he had a really, really good offseason.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so I think that not as many people were talking about him because the guy who is rotating in with him is Montez Sweat. Yep. 1st-round pick, and a guy who is just a freakish athlete in terms of his size and his speed. So it was maybe easy to overlook what Ryan Anderson was able to accomplish. But like you said, I think he looked good through OTAs and minicamp, and I think the competition is going to help him too. Yeah. Because knowing that a guy is coming in here, and so we know Kerrigan's going to be starting on one side, so we don't know who's going to start on the other side. Right. But now there's a guy who's a 1st-round pick who is getting a ton of hype, and it's like if he's going to need to match that level, right? To keep pace, or not even keep pace, right, but to earn playing time. So the
good thing about the defense, it's the defensive line. I was going to say the defensive line, even though it's still kind of weird to me that you call defensive ends outside linebackers.
Yeah, it's confusing.
That's above my pay grade. But I think personally, at that position, those defensive end positions, a lot of those guys rotate a lot during the game. So we're going to see a lot of those guys. Of course, Ryan Kerrigan will have, will be that anchor in that one spot. Yeah. But I personally think with the rotation just from last year that we saw with the, defensive line, outside linebackers, even inside linebackers, Mason Foster was a guy that, that was in there majority of the time, but even on third downs, Josh Harvey Clemens, I know we haven't got that far yet. He rotated in. So, I mean, different packages. I mean, we saw Ryan Anderson in a lot. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be rotating in. But like you said, this training camp is going to be very, very interesting with the competition. And both of these guys are going to thrive off competition, both playing in the SEC, both playing big-time football. So it's going to be interesting camp. I mean, even for Jordan Broford also. I mean, that's a guy you've covered. You wrote a story about him. What can you tell me about Jordan Broford?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on Brailford a decent amount in our first episode, breaking down the rookies. Yep. And he's just another guy that has good size, good strength. I mean, he was really productive in college. I think he led the Big 12s in sacks. So he's a guy that I think can also be a contributor. Obviously, it gets a little overlooked too because of Montez Sweat.
Right.
But it remains to be seen too. So that's another thing. It's just going to be, you know what Ryan Kerrigan's going to bring, but everyone else, it's going to be really interesting to see how they perform at training camp.
Casanova
McKenzie too, yeah.
One guy that I would hate to leave out. I feel like he's really good. Even Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden is really high on Casanova McKenzie. He loves that guy. So, I mean, it was an unfortunate injury against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving last year, but I feel like he has a bright future also with this team.
Yeah, I actually talked to him a while back before the offseason workouts. Never ended up getting a story online, but I talked to him for a good while. And he was saying that, the injury, really, it hurt. It was disappointing, but it kind of gave him a new perspective. So it allowed him to, spend more time with his family, spend more time with his daughter, and really give him a renewed sense of focus going into this year. And so that's another guy where, if he's a guy that at camp he's making plays around the edge, then that's just another guy you can maybe rotate in. And I mean, the more guys you have, the better, because you keep guys fresh and keep guys trying to get after the quarterback.
Right, and Broford also, I mean, that's a guy that we talked about him 2 weeks ago. Yeah. You don't hear much about him, and I think that entire position is going to be interesting to see. Moving to inside linebacker, start with Mason Foster, leading tackler on the team this past season. I mean, he's a solid everyday linebacker. I mean, he's going to put his face in the gap. I mean, he's going to take on lead blockers. He does everything you need him to do. I mean, one thing he said he worked on this offseason was working on his hips, working on his speed, being able to, get better, be that much better in third down. I mean, being able to, guard or run it back out of the backfield, and knowing that it's not a mismatch. I mean, knowing that, hey, I can still guard on the exterior, run sideline to sideline. So he's going to be an anchor on this defense. Of course, I mean, he called the plays. He's the quarterback of the defense, and bringing him back is key. I mean, we saw him this offseason. I mean, calling plays in the huddle, doing everything he needed to do. He's just that leader in the locker room. Yeah,
I mean, I think he also said that he lost, 10 to 15 pounds or something. So, I think he feels lighter, he feels faster, which is obviously going to help, because he's a proven run stopper.
Yep.
And, I think being a little lighter and a little faster is going to help him with coverage. So.
Did you know he rides his bike to work?
Oh, no way.
He rides his bike to work. If you can see him, I see him pulling in almost every day, and then when he leaves, he put his headphones on, puts on a hoodie, and then rides his bike from the park.
What?
Yeah.
How long has he been doing that for?
He did it some last year, but I know he's been doing it almost every day this offseason. So there you go.
Why didn't you tell me that? I would have rented a bike, and then we would have did a story on it.
True. That's what you call riding in motion.
We could the rundown in motion, and we just do it with Mason Foster riding bikes here.
Yeah, and Mason, I mean, he would be a good interview also. Another good interview, and another person that I'm looking forward to watching this upcoming season. We saw a little bit of him last year.
Yeah.
Sean Dion Hamilton. What you got?
So, Sean Dion Hamilton, first of all, Jay Gruden, I think it was in his press conference at the end of OTAs, said that Sean D. and Hamilton and Fabian Moreau, young cornerback who we'll get to in a couple weeks, said they were the two most impressive players and two most improved coming into this offseason. So he's a guy that came on last year and I think is going to have a even bigger role this year. Just his speed, his ability to cover. I think he's an all-around linebacker that is going to take that next step and might need to take that next step to help out this defense.
He's a headhunter, man. Just even watching him in Alabama, like the guy makes plays. I mean, he's full throttle. He can, of course he can run, but he's just full throttle. Doesn't let the pedal off the gas. So, I mean, having that on in the linebacker group this year in that linebacking corps, that's going to be key. And I mean, just Josh Harvey-Clemens, who is our third down linebacker. We talked about not Ryan Anderson, Mason Foster losing weight. A goal for Josh Harvey-Clemens this offseason was gaining weight. He said he gained 20 to 30 pounds. I mean, you can see it on him, and he said he kept his speed. So he said he wants to be an every down linebacker also. I mean, of course, he's 6'4". Yeah, he's a tall, long guy.
Yeah, he's got the length that the other linebackers don't really have. So
exactly.
He brings a. The thing I think about this linebacking group is that they all bring different strengths to the table, and they're all going to complement each other, both in their character and in their physical traits and what they're able to do on the football field. Even going to John Bostic. So you have Sean Dean Hamilton and Josh Harvey-Clemens are pretty young guys, and then you have Mason Foster and John Bostic, who they signed in the offseason, that are some veteran guys that have been there before. They're huge communicators on the field. Bostic actually told me that at Florida they used to call him the explainer because he just wanted to know what everyone was doing. So he was joking around with the secondary because he would know what the secondary was doing sometimes better than what they knew they were doing. So he's kind of brought that mentality into Redskins camp, and coaches have been impressed that I think he came in the first day and he was calling plays.
Wow.
Because he had heard that the Redskins might be interested, and so he started digging a little bit into the defense, and he said that the defense is pretty similar to the one he ran with the Colts.
Okay.
So, he got to work, got studying, and, lo and behold, Redskins signed him, and he's out in the field first day and calling plays.
Student of the game. Student of the game, and I think another student of the game who's going to learn a lot from all 4 or 5 of these guys that you just talked about is Cole Holcomb, the rookie from UNC. We talked about him a little bit in the rookie segment that we did in episode 1. I think he can be special. I mean, special teams, defense, wherever you need him. He's a guy that just loves to play, and he wants to know everything that's going on too. And having the explainer that you talked about, John Bostic, Mason Foster, Josh Harvey-Clemens, those guys, I feel like it can be a great learning year for him. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure when his number is going to be called, he's going to be ready to accept that challenge.
Yeah. So on Cole Holcomb, we talked a lot about him. Obviously, a walk-on at North Carolina that ended up being really productive.
Yeah.
Redskins love his athleticism, his speed, his ability to cover, and obviously, hopefully he's going to play on special teams.
Yeah.
So another thing about him was that Eric Schaefer, one of the Redskins front office executives, went on the Doc Walker show at Team 980, and he was just asking him a couple questions, and it got to guys that Jay Gruden is really wanted on this team, and so I know one of them was Matt Ioannidis, 2016, and look how he's turned out, pretty good.
Yeah.
And so Schaefer was saying that for this year's class, Cole Holcomb was his guy.
Wow.
And he wanted Cole Holcomb on this roster. And looking back at what Gruden has said about Holcomb throughout the offseason, you can tell that he really likes him. And it's not just the measurables, it's the production, having both of those, and now he's going to have an opportunity to showcase what he can do and hopefully validate Gruden's advocacy.
One thing I like about Cole Holcomb, like he just gets it. Yeah. Like as a rookie, it's rare that a guy comes in and just like understands the game. Of course, physically, like every rookie has to help grow their body and be better at what they do. But I feel like he just gets it. And before it gets too crazy, Ryan Kerrigan just walked in. So we have to get Ryan Kerrigan on the show and get right to it.
All right, let's do it.
As we promised, Kyle, we got the showstopper Ryan Kerrigan on today. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Get right into it. You're a father. Just hearing that, just trying to keep a human being alive. Like, what does that feel like?
What a way to start, Gabe.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I mean, it's been even better than I thought it would be. Everyone tells you when when you're pregnant that it's all you're being a father is going to be the best thing ever. And you're especially when you have a little girl, she's gonna melt your heart, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm sure, it'll be great. But everyone's right. It's the real deal. It's legit, and I just know when that little girl looks at me and smiles, it's there's nothing else matters in the world.
Yeah. So I've seen some Instagrams, from your wife, from you, and it seems like there was a post. I think he was saying that you were the fun dad, and your daughter was smiling with you. I mean, what have been the favorite parts about being a father, and what are some things that you've enjoyed doing with your little girl?
I guess just your whole life you kind of wonder like, oh, I wonder what my kid's going to look like in the future. What's he or she going to be like? And then I actually get to experience it, and I see my little girl. She's got a full head of hair. She got dark hair like me. Looks a lot like me. And it's crazy. It's wild, man. And I feel like I'll be the good cop, definitely to my daughter. We kind of balance each other out because when it comes to the dogs, I'm definitely the bad cop. Okay. Whereas my wife is like, all the dogs can have free reign of everything, and I'm the one that's really making them buckle down. But with our little girl, I'm definitely, she can have whatever she wants.
Has the music selection changed? When she's in the car, is it more Baby Shark now?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of Raffi going, and it's you kind of hear those songs, and it brings you back to your childhood a little bit. So I don't mind playing the Raffi. Yeah.
Changing diapers, I feel like you've got accustomed to that now. Is that something that keeps you up at night? Like how does that schedule work?
Changing diapers isn't bad at all. It's
really.
I look at it this way. When you're walking your dogs, you pick up after your dogs. They go to the bathroom. Is a human's number two any worse than a dog's? And so I really, that doesn't gross me out. And a lot of people thought it would too. I'm like, I got friends and family that are like, oh, you're really gonna struggle with that. It's like, why do you think that? It's like, first of all, where's this notion coming from? Like, totally unfounded. But but no, I haven't had trouble with that.
So how has the schedule worked? Because obviously, off-season workouts a little less intensive than the season and training camp. But how has it worked with trying to have your same routine and also balancing being a new dad?
It definitely makes you prioritize your time more. There's not a lot of time just for myself. Right. It's not, I'm not golfing. I don't think I've golfed in my golf outing. That was it. So I used to play a lot of golf, and so I don't really do that much anymore. But the work hasn't changed. In fact, I'm probably spending more time at the facility than I have in the past, just because, as I'm going on year 9, I got to spend time and do more pre and post workout to make sure that my body's in top of the line shape. So work hasn't changed. Oh, it's changed for doing more, but it's just when I'm at home, I'm trying to do everything I can to relieve my wife because she's been the one that's really grinding with her.
Oh yeah.
July 4th is coming up here. You taking any vacation with your wife and daughter now, or?
Yeah, we're gonna head out west, go to Southern California, Orange County, and spend a little time out there. So I'm excited, man. It's nice out there, so I'm excited. little less humidity than it is than there is here, so that'll be nice.
And then just real quick, just wanted to go back to your daughter. One more question.
Go for it.
So how has being a dad changed your perspective? Maybe your football perspective, and then just overall life perspective.
It's made me want to play longer because I want to play. Like I want my daughter and hopefully more future children to be able to remember me. Remember some aspect of my football career. I don't want them hearing me talking about football and then be like, oh, Dad's living in the past. I want them and like he's probably wasn't even any good, and so
we got the highlights to show, so you can always do that.
But I want them to be able to a lot of the fun that comes with being a professional football player. Experience and remember their experiences that they have, at FedEx Field on Sundays and whatnot. So that's definitely how it's changed me. It's a lot of people thought it would have made me want to, you see a lot of guys retire, they want to spend more time with their kids. This, having a kid's made me want to play longer because I want them to be able to, enjoy this part of my life.
So it's motivating.
Certainly.
Validating your success to your kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, see, I
got a sack.
See, I'm not just some, guy living in the past.
That's funny.
Speaking of going to the football side now, of course, it's been a very interesting offseason for the good, in my opinion. Just from talking to a lot of players, they say this OTA, this mini camp has been, special. What makes this mini camp, this OTA period that we just, experienced, what makes this different from, your past 9 years that you've been here?
Well, I know defensively, on paper right now, we're very, very good. I know up front with our three big boys, Ioannidis, John, Payne, even Caleb Brantley, Tim Settle, like we got some dogs up front, and then we feel really, really good about our linebackers too, and our with the additions we made in the secondary, with Landon coming in, Jano coming back. We got a chance to be really good defensively, and like I said at the start, we're good on paper. Now we have to go in there and put in the work throughout training camp, and really validate the potential. You want to see the potential come to fruition. So I think right now that's what everyone's talking about. They see the potential that our defense can have, and they want us to realize it.
Mm-hmm. And so you're really the veteran of the group, and a lot of younger guys. So just looking back on your career, what have you gained? How has your game changed, and how have you adapted to maybe what the NFL has become?
Well, it's definitely more of a passing league now, so you got to be able to get to the quarterback at my position. There's no doubt. I mean, and stopping the run's important, because if a team can be balanced, then you're kind of screwed defensively. Yeah. But so that's you definitely. I mean, you just kind of realize, you got to not put all your eggs in the pass rush basket, but most of them. It's an important job to get to the quarterback, and also doing it quickly. They're not sitting back there taking 7-10 step drops like they were a lot of years ago. They're 1-2 getting the ball out. So we got to find ways to either get our hands up or get in a throwing lane quickly to affect a quarterback.
Was there any quarterback that got rid of the ball like faster than anyone else, or?
Drew Brees,
quickest release. Yeah.
Drew Brees does. He gets rid of it pretty quick, and I mean you can just see how in sync they are offensively with his receivers. It's like it's almost like they've run it's almost like they're on the practice field because they're in such good sync. So it's very frustrating as a pass rusher because unless it's third and long, it's probably going to be a quick drop back for him, so they don't have to get affected by the pass rush.
Speaking of sacks, the HBK. The dance that you do. Will Compton started that. Well,
sure.
How did that come about, and when did you actually, say hey, this is what I'm going to do every single time I get a sack. This is the showstopper dance. This is what I'm going to do.
So he, I hadn't done anything for a sack my first 3 years. I just kind of get up and just hoot and holler, celebrate with the teammates and whatnot. But then my fourth year, Comp was like, you got to do something, man. And I'm like, it's not really me. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, and he's raspy voice, and so he's like, you got to do the HBK, the Shawn Michaels. He gets down and does it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but still, not me. That's way flashy,
right?
And he's like, I'm telling you, man, people love it. So I was finally like, he was on me about it, and so finally I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And so Jacksonville game comes up, I get a sack in I think the second quarter, and I do it. And everyone just got so hyped, all my teammates and whatnot. And then I got 3 more sacks that game, and so I did it the rest of the game. And they and after that it just caught on like wildfire. I mean my mentions were blowing up like crazy online, and my texts are like I have friends are like, dude, I don't know what the hell that was, but it was awesome, man. And I'm like it's Shawn Michaels, man.
Were you a Shawn Michaels fan?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And so like. Yeah, it was just crazy how quickly it became a thing. Yeah. And then you saw the hashtag on Twitter, HB Kerrigan and all this stuff, and it just people loved it, man.
You think you'll have another sack dance in the future, or you think you're going to stick with that?
I've thought about it, but I just got to stick with what I mean. Hell, people call me HBK now, so it's like I don't really got a choice.
Exactly,
so.
Exactly.
And then, so do you have any? I know players have rituals, superstitions before games. Do you have any of those?
No, I don't. I've like made it a point not to because I put it this way: it's if I ate the same exact. I mean, I pretty much do eat the same thing before every meal. But if I don't know, if I did something the same every game, and then there was some game, I forgot to bring this thing, and I didn't have it. I didn't want that mental anxiety of like, oh no, I didn't, bring my lucky socks, or I didn't, do this. Like, the only thing I do, and I kind of do this every day in life, I just always put my left sock on, right sock, left shoe, right shoe. Like I'll never put my right on before my left, and that's, but that's not like a game
muscle
day.
Memory now.
Yeah, that's not a game day thing. It's like, today I'll do that. So yeah, that's my only real thing.
Just going back just to you talk about, the league going more towards, the passing side. I feel like the NFC East is still one of the only, conference divisions in the NFL that's run heavy. So what makes the NFC East so tough? Because I feel like that's one of the most bruising, physical divisions in football. Well,
I feel like in 16 when Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott got to the Cowboys and they really placed a heavy run, emphasis on the run, they kind of showed a lot of teams, okay, you can still run the ball in this league and be successful. They got behind that big offensive line, and Zeke's a hell of a back. He's awesome. And so, they kind of, as the league was going toward more of a passing, league, they, the Cowboys said, okay, we're going to do it differently. We're going to run the football, and it's worked for them. And so I think, a lot of teams are seeing that. You see Saquon Barkley get drafted in the top 5 in New York, and they're going to, placing more emphasis on the run.
Right.
Eagles got Jordan Howard and some other, dogs at running back. So it's definitely, it's heavy in our division, and I think because, like I said, the Cowboys kind of showed, you can still be successful running the football. And
you guys, we run the ball a lot too.
We do, yeah. With guys like Adrian and Chris Thompson, you see why.
Yeah. What do you want to go to?
I think we've been doing position by position. I know we want to do a little bit of rapid fire before you get off, but we've been doing position by position groups. Today is going to be linebackers, so just outside linebackers. So as far as, you got your Ryan Anderson, Montez Sweat's here now, Casanova McKenzie, Jordan Broford. Yeah. What have you seen from those guys since you've been here and since you've been practicing with them so far?
I'm impressed. You watch Sweat, and that dude is, a guy that big shouldn't be able to move like that. Right. And that's what makes him special. And his skill set, he can be a special player in this league. If he continues to work like he has this offseason and works like he should going forward, he's going to be a big time player in the NFL. Ryan Anderson had a really great offseason. I've been really impressed with Jordan Brailford too. Yeah. Coming in, for late round draft pick, he's a guy that really is come in and kind of made his presence felt, and even in OTA. So I like our room right now. Cass is a really dynamic guy. We got some good guys in the room, and I think we can be a stalwart for the defense.
They call you Uncle Kerrigan yet? Or?
Man, they're pretty respectful with the age thing, but we'll see. I turned 31 in training camp, so I'm sure I'll get some flack then.
Wow.
What you got, Cal?
So I think we should go rapid fire.
Let's go.
Kind of focus on topics maybe a little outside of football. So first one would have to be chugging the beer at the Caps game.
Yeah.
So what was going through your head? What prompted you to do that?
Well, I just remember, Oshie did that at the Stanley Cup parade last year, and he had gotten hurt. He had the collarbone injury the game before.
Yep.
And when I got asked to do that, I wasn't gonna. Lead the Let's Go Caps chant. I'm like thinking, okay, I could get up there and be boring, and just say Let's go Caps, let's go Caps, or I could do something that would really get the people going. And so I was like, I asked the PR people at the Caps. I'm like, hey, can I bring a beer up there with me? And they're like, oh yeah, how many do you need? And I'm like, oh, like I was like, it's like this. Like I was thinking it would be like, oh well, maybe we got kids in the audience, and no, they were all about it. And so. I'm sitting there in the tunnel practicing, like pulling my shirt over my head and drinking. I'm like, I think I got it.
How many beers did you go through before practicing?
Honestly, only one.
Okay.
It was, but so I did it, and it was I had one shot at it, and it was successful. So it was cool, good time.
And then what else?
You always hear about meeting room stories. Of course, you can't say much, but as far as like just funniest meeting room story just from this offseason.
From this offseason, none too specific. one thing that, Manusky will, whenever he like comes into a room, like, so we'll be sitting there as outside backers watching film, and it's quiet in there. You're listening to your coach. Manusky will like, slam on the door and open the door real fast and be like, he'd be like, yeah, watch that hard count, and then just walk out, and you're just like, what the hell just happened? And so he, but that's a constant thing. That's not one specific story. He's always messing with us.
Nobody jumps. That's the rule of it. Don't jump.
Oh yeah, you try not to, but he gets me every time. I mean, I jump like crazy.
Is it intimidating at all to have a guy like that with practices and stuff? He comes out, guns blazing. He's got the sleeveless shirt on. It kind of setting the tone for the defense.
He looks like he could still play. I mean, I love our defensive staff. I mean, him and Jim Tom and Chad. It's like, and Rob Ryan and Ray Horton. We got some funny and cool and really smart coaches, and they all have a lot of experience too. So it's like it really is the best of both worlds. They're awesome coaches, and they're funny people.
At this age, what does Ryan Kerrigan learn? Like, because you've been in the league so long. I know we're doing rapid fire, but this question.
Hey, whatever pops into your head.
What does Ryan Kerrigan learn in the 10th year, right?
Yeah, ninth
year of rookie year. Like, what more can you learn other than working smarter?
It's you just got to continue to learn how to take care of your body better, learn little things that can allow you to get more sleep at night, or be a little more come into the next day feeling less sore than you did the day before. Mm-hmm. That's really the main things, is just trying to take care of your body, preserve it, and then still getting in the film room. You can find little tendencies each week that can help you make the difference.
I think we learned earlier. Stevie sent us a picture of Ryan Kerrigan with a beard. We learned that he can grow a beard.
Yeah. So I know you're growing out your hair. You said you've been growing it out for 5 months, but then that got me thinking. With this being a beard podcast, why haven't you grown a beard, or what's the deal with that?
My facial hair is kind of whack, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
It's not very good. I mean, I'll definitely try this season to grow one at some point, because you can always fall back on, it's a season, I'm not really keeping. Whereas if in the off season I'm trying to grow a beard, it's kind of like you look stupid. So I was blessed with a lot of things, but good facial hair wasn't one of them. Yeah,
that's funny. All right, so real quick, what's one thing that fans might not know about Ryan Kerrigan?
Good question.
I don't know. They see me. I'm pretty stoic and serious. In most interviews, and when I'm on the field and whatnot. But I'm pretty laid back at home. I sing to my daughter a lot. Pretty loudly too. I'm sure some of the neighbors can hear. But I don't know. Not really much to know. I mean, I'm kind of a boring dude. I mean, honestly, I go to work, I go to see my family, and that's pretty much it.
What songs are you singing to your daughter?
A lot of Zach Brown. I mean,
okay, nice.
Yeah, my what is it? Your Man. That's the song for me. Daddy to his daughter. That's my jam. That's the one that I usually rock her to sleep with.
You feel like you got softer since you had a daughter?
No, I actually probably the other way. It's like, really? Man, I got to do everything I can to protect this girl, and and be her rock. Mm-hmm. So
you ever like Netflix and chill? Like any Netflix shows you're watching?
Oh yeah, we watched The Office. I'd never watched The Office until 3 years ago, and we binged that. I loved Breaking Bad when it was out. Entourage was great. Entourage gets a lot of flack, I feel like, nowadays. I thought Entourage was awesome.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was a perfect show. You could just throw on whenever you wanted.
Prison Break, too.
Oh, man, I love that show.
Yeah.
What else? There was another. We were watching Parks and Rec until our daughter was born, and we haven't seen an episode since. So, but hopefully get back on that train.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess just what can you tell, I guess, Redskins fans, going into training camp and going into the season about, the potential of this group and what they can possibly do?
Well, like I was saying earlier, with our defense especially, you can see it on paper. You can see the potential there, and so get excited, because we're going to work too. That's the thing. We got good workers in the building, and that's a big thing. You can't just rely on ability and rely on potential. You got to work to make things happen. Mm-hmm. So we got the potential. We got the guys that are willing to work. Now we just need to work and make it happen.
Are you a stats guy at all?
A little bit, yeah.
So there's this number that's hanging in the air right now. The number 7.
No, right.
Do you think about that? 7 sacks until you become the Redskins all-time sack leader?
I mean, at times, not really a lot. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, well, cool. Hopefully, hopefully cross that bridge when we get there, and never take any sack for granted because they're all hard to get. So, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we hopefully get there. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem.
That was
awesome.
Awesome.
Ryan Kerrigan, great first guest. Really appreciate it.